I'm sure many of us know someone, if not you, who's felt uncomfortable talking about religion and money or just have feelings of shame or guilt about it. Welcome to Yahweh's Money, a podcast where we discuss the crossroads or intersections of religion and money. We're going to go deep into topics like tithing and saving and debt and so much more from the religious view. I'm your host, Shay Cook, CEO and founder, Crusaders for Change, LLC, and our co-host is Vanessa McNelley, one of our financial counselor, coach, educators. Let's talk about God and money. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Yahweh's Money. Hey Vanessa, how are you today?
I am good, Shay, and I guess welcome to 2024.
Oh, yay. Oh, my God. We made it through. Thank you, Jesus. Lord, I'm just going to claim it in the name of Jesus, even though we're recording in 2023.
Exactly.
We're making it to 2024 because that's God's will. And it's amazing. But today we're going to talk about a heavy kind of topic, dealing with the dilemma of debt after the holidays. Oh, Lord. We might hit some nerves with some people. Because we know people around November and December, they like to spend a lot of money on themselves and family and friends.
A lot of fun.
So while many of us are recovering from the holiday festivities, and we hope that you had a wonderful time with your family, a peaceful time, a lovely time, some of us are dealing with the aftermath of the holiday debt we accumulate as a result of our holiday spending. So last year, according to the 2023 Lending Tree survey, 35% of Americans had debt from the 2022, sorry, Lord, holiday shopping season. That's crazy, man. People are still paying on their debt. The majority of the respondents estimated it would take 5 months, and I think it probably takes longer. People are lying to pay off their debt. So are you dealing with the hangover of holiday debt? If so, let's talk about a plan to pay it off and plan for next year so you don't have the debt of Christmas past haunting your Christmas present. I love that. So in Romans 13, 7 through 8, it says, give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. You better pay your taxes, people. Okay. So if revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. So, Vanessa, oh my God.
I know.
What do you think about this?
So I will say, first off, was it worth it? Was it worth all those presents?
Oh, no. That's good. That's good. Was it worth it?
Are you still feeling that wonderful cheer that you felt 2 months ago? Most of us wouldn't be, honestly.
Yeah.
And most people, I don't think they really appreciate what we're giving them anyway. So it doesn't matter if you're giving them a $5 gift or a $500 gift for most people.
Amen.
But yeah, I think that's the thing about this. When we get in that season and everything is just so, so happy, and there's the music and there's, all the sales, and it puts us in this mood of we want to give, even when we can't give, or we don't have the ability to give in the way that we see everyone else kind of out there just giving out and handing out things. It seems like it just kind of puts us in this mode of, okay, we'll deal with this later because we're having a good time now. And we can do that see that in lots of different aspects of our life, I think too. But yeah, realistically, we have to think forward and think ahead and think about how this is going to impact things. And paying what we owe to people in whatever capacity that is should take priority over giving new things. Taking care of what we owe first. And that is so hard for most people to understand. Is that we need to be free and clear first before we start making those other purchases or whatever we're doing out there. But when we do that, it's going to put us in a headspace too, where we're like, okay, everything's handled. I'm going to be okay. And that's a relief. Such a relief. Yeah.
Exactly. And creating those memories too, right? You can create memories for free.
Exactly.
It doesn't cost time. It costs time, but it doesn't cost money for a lot of memories. Yeah. Of course, some people want to embellish them and make them more fabulous and all that. But just having a conversation with somebody, just spending time with somebody.
Exactly.
Just reminiscing, whatever it may be, doing a craft project that's a little cheaper than whatever it may look like. There's other ways to celebrate with people and not have holiday debt. But hey, people have holiday
They
debt.
do.
So some tips to getting started and paying off your debt. We always talk about it, and people probably tired of hearing us talk about it, but you
Yeah,
got to create a budget. I
you
mean, you got to
do.
plan to identify areas where you can cut back and allocate more funds toward debt repayment.
Hmm.
Again, we talked about in our last episode having that discipline, that sacrifice. You might have
Right.
to sacrifice some things. So I
Exactly.
think that's what you need to think before you start buying for the holidays. Do you want to sacrifice for 5 months, as this survey say, or longer,
Yeah.
to because you're gonna have to cut back if you're not
Hmm.
making more money.
Hmm. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you're running yourself into a hole.
Right. Well, and I think part of this too is, we do talk about budgeting or spending plans often, and that's because everything comes back to what do you have coming in and what do you have going out. And if we
Mm-hmm.
don't know those things, how do we know how much we can spend on things and what we need
Exactly.
to save? We have no clue. We have
Yeah.
absolutely no clue. We're just spending recklessly. So,
Mm-hmm.
knowing those things gives us an advantage to kind of go into the season and say, okay, realistically,
Mm-hmm.
this is my budget and it's okay to stick within those
Yeah.
limits.
And that's the best way, is to do it before the holiday
Exactly.
season. But we're in January. So
Right.
we're talking about those that
Yeah.
have it. And I agree. And as well as, just, oh man, the spend plan is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and then also listing the debt that you owe and considering some kind of repayment strategy
Yeah.
plan, whether it's the snowball method or avalanche
Mm-hmm.
method, but a SMART goal,
Uh-huh.
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely or time bound goal of when you meant it, when you can pay off that
Right.
debt. That is very, very
Yep.
important.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I think with this too, a lot of people, they forget what sacrifice feels like and they
Hmm.
forget that it's okay to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So when you're repaying or you're doing some kind of debt repayment, it is going to take a sacrifice.
Hmm.
And you have to mentally be ready for that too.
Yeah.
So, preparing yourself and getting ready and making this list and sitting down and saying, okay, this isn't going to be fun. I did this, though. I'm going to own it and I'm
Yeah.
going to make a plan. I'm going to stick to it. Even if it means like for the next 2 or 3 months, I'm not going out with my friends on the weekend, whatever that might
Mm.
look like or be. And there are still other ways to have fun and enjoy yourself. It's just kind of changing things around a little bit, but you
Yeah.
have to be mentally there.
You have to be mentally there. And just because you have a $5,000, $10,000 credit card,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, you spend all on it. You spend it, you max it out. Just realize you have to pay. And, the
Exactly.
credit card companies make it easy because they have you pay this $10. I mean, well, I guess for 5,000, it's probably going to be like $100
Right.
payment.
Right.
But you still, that's $100 you probably didn't have in your budget.
Yeah.
Hopefully you did. But if you want to pay more, then where are you going to find that money?
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, you're going to have to make more money or pull from somewhere else to sacrifice
Right.
when you could have just saved. I ain't trying to shame nobody, but you could
Yeah.
have, for the future, you should consider saving for
Exactly.
that.
And
Yeah.
remember how you feel in this moment and use
Mm,
that in the future because it's going to be hard to remember these things later on when they're paid off. And, next year when we go through this again and we haven't saved again and we want to buy all these things again, remember how you felt after the fact and use that to your advantage.
exactly. And explore options to consolidate high interest debts into lower interest loans or transfer to a credit card with a 0% introductory rate to save on interest rates. So I'm not a big fan of most people doing this
Yeah.
because if you're not disciplined and
Right.
you don't close the other card, which will also mess up your credit if you do close it. So there's like,
Mm-hmm.
this is a little more complicated than just getting some.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of family and friends and clients that are like, oh, well, I just put it on a 0%, and they keep doing that Robin Peter PayPal.
Right.
And that's a complicated
Mm-hmm.
situation, but it may work for you. But definitely call Crusaders for Change if
Yeah.
you're thinking about that,
Agree.
because
Agree.
it's not as simple as that.
Right.
But looking for opportunities to increase your income, whether it's asking for a raise, working overtime, a part-time job, or a side hustle, the extra funds earned can be put towards paying off debt.
Mm-hmm. And this again takes sacrifice by giving it
Yes.
more of your time. But
Exactly.
yeah, but there's an accomplishment factor with that too.
Hmm.
So, you giving up some of your time to get this paid off and get it done, you're going to feel so much better about it.
So much better.
And there's so many part time gigs out there right now. We have so many opportunities right now to have a side hustle or have a part-time job, or heck, have another, full-time job if you're able, to kind of
Yeah.
get that done. And I always tell our clients, it's temporary. It's not a forever.
Mm.
You're just going to do this for a short season to get yourself
Mm-hmm.
back on track. But look at it as it's not a full-time forever solution. It's just going to be
Exactly.
something you do to get yourself out of this hole, and then it's going to be over. So that again
Exactly.
takes sacrifice.
Sacrifice,
Hmm.
sacrifice, sacrifice. We were just talking earlier this week, Vanessa, or last week, about overtime and how
Yeah.
people, have that opportunity around the holiday season to
Yes.
work those extra hours
Yeah.
and get that overtime or even double time and
Hmm.
able to save or pay off debt. And I think that's really cool if your employer offers that. A lot
Agree.
of them don't, but
Agree.
that's awesome. And reach out to your creditors and negotiate lower interest rates. Some might be willing to negotiate lower rates or work out a more manageable payment plan to
Hmm.
get you back on track.
Yep.
And as we've mentioned over and over, seek help. Financial professionals like C4C,
Hmm.
Crusades for Change, a nonprofit credit counseling agency, they can really help you analyze your debt, create an action plan, and you don't have to try to figure this out on your own. There is
Exactly.
people out there to help. But I would
Yeah.
say definitely God is here to support you, and you need to have a conversation like Vanessa's saying. Think about how you're feeling during this moment, after, before, during, after accumulating all this debt. Have a conversation with God and see how you can improve in the future.
Yeah. And we're not supposed to do things alone. We are
Mm,
creatures who need interaction. So having
yeah,
somebody to be accountable to and with, that's a great thing too. So
it really
utilize
is.
those people around you that are doing the right things, number one, and those people who are professionals, like we do and like we are, because we
Hmm.
try to live what we preach as well.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
use people who have been there and done that, and they know what it takes and what it's going to take you to go through this, and they know it's going to be a sacrifice. But utilize people who have been there, because they're going to be your best support, because they understand.
They understand. It's so true. And ensure you're making your debt payments on time and paying more than the minimum to save on interest. The last thing you want is all this holiday debt to negatively impact your credit.
Right.
Refrain from using credit if possible until you're paid off your debt, which I know is hard for a lot of people.
Right.
But it's smart to try to refrain and cut back during that time of
Exactly.
paying off, because you're just going in a cycle, and it's a vicious cycle.
Right. You're adding fuel to the
Yeah.
fire at that point. You're
Yeah.
not going to see, the benefits of all these
Mm-hmm.
changes you've made, because the bill just keeps staying the same or going up.
I used to have family members shame me for wanting, because I would get credit cards and I would sacrifice to
Yeah.
pay them off.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are you doing that? They like really, I got so much shame coming from so many family members. And I'm just
Uh,
like, to this day, and it's like, dude, really? And you wonder why I'm where I am and where you are right now. Hello, that's my ego.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
spirit is saying, hey, no, Shay, you did the
Right.
right thing. I sacrificed. I ate very plainly. We cooked
Mm-hmm.
at home like for years. We
Yep.
didn't eat out a lot. I didn't buy clothes for years. Like when I was trying to pay off my student
Yeah.
loans, when I was
Yeah.
talking about saving for Hawaii, like I know how to
Right.
sacrifice when it comes to saving money,
Right.
like and paying off debt,
And you
because
see the
I
benefit in that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like it's not an instant reward,
Mm-hmm.
but it's nice to see that account dwindle down, that debt dwindle down, and know that,
Exactly.
there's so many calculators out there that you can
Yeah.
use and see exactly when you're going to pay it off. And, I always shout out Power Pay. I
Yes.
love that. I
Yeah.
use that for debt repayment, and, our clients, we use that for our clients too. And it was just so cool being able to see my student loan
Yeah.
pay off that 65,000 in almost less than 4 years, because
Yeah.
I literally every single tax refund that we got,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
or that after we paid like an insurance bill or something like that, I
Yeah.
put that every award or reward from work or performance award, every
Mm-hmm.
increase in the job, I always put all that money towards there. And yeah, I could have been using that for new cars and new whatever, new clothes, but I just like, no, I want to pay my debt off.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a great feeling to know that I'll have that paid off, paid my
Right.
car off a few years ago, and now I'm able to put that money towards my daughter's college at one time, and now other things. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's really
Yeah.
cool to be able to have that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Well, and you
Yeah.
see the light at the end of the tunnel. So you
Yeah.
know when this is going to be over, and you can kind of
Exactly.
get back to life as usual or as normal if you
Mm-hmm.
want to get back to that type of a lifestyle. But knowing when it's going to end and when the sacrifice is going to end, that's huge, because you see that
Yeah.
it's not forever, and you see that
Exactly.
it's just that short season. So, knowing when it's going to happen. I have seen so many clients who are like, oh my gosh, it's only going to take 15 months. It's only going to take 2 years. Like, that is such a blessing to know that date and time.
It really is.
Yeah.
I know when I did one thing, a debt repayment plan like 2 decades ago, it said 3 years. And I was like, oh my God, those 3 years went by quick, had
Right.
everything paid off.
Yeah.
And it's like, it took more than 3 years to accumulate the debt. So I
Mm-hmm.
should, why wouldn't I expect to be able to pay it off in 3 years?
Exactly.
And then you get, and when you really get into the mode of paying off debt,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's holiday debt
Mm-hmm.
or any kind of other debt, it's like, man, it just kicks you into gear. Your mind's like, okay, I can put a little bit more here. I could do
Exactly.
this. Let me pull from here. I mean, it really gets into like a little game. Like,
Right.
you're just like, let's pay this off and
Mm-hmm.
let's get done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're impatient like me. I'm like, I ain't waiting no 3 years. I'm gonna get this paid off in 2.5. Even or 2 years and 9 months,
Yeah.
whatever it is, to
Yeah.
try to not meet the 3 years.
Money has always been a game for me like that too. And
Mm,
it's like, okay, I set budgets for myself, but if I
hmm.
don't use all the funds in those budgets, I take that extra leftover money and I put it towards something fun.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, everything goes in my travel fund or everything goes
Oh,
towards,
nice.
whatever else I want to buy, but it's usually going somewhere because that's just how
Hmm.
I roll with things.
Yeah.
But it can be a game and it can be a fun
Hmm.
game. And
It really
especially
can.
if if you have a partner that you're spending money with or saving money with, it can be a fun little game between the two of you to see,
Hmm.
who can do more on less, have some fun date nights at home, that kind of thing. But yeah, it can be used as a fun game and you can get pretty creative.
You really could. You really can. You really can. So what can you put into plan now to avoid finding yourself in the same situation next year or to the end of 2024, which is like project out? Is this
Yeah.
November? Is December 2024? How do we not get into the debt? Then, what do we do? So
Yeah.
I would say first make a list of who you're intending to buy for next year,
Mm-hmm.
the amount you would spend for each person, keep a journal of what you're
Mm-hmm.
spending, and definitely start saving.
Yes. And plan, plan, plan.
Hmm.
And have a contingency plan because
Yeah,
things always
exactly.
pop up. We get
So
invited
true.
to like 2 last minute parties. We have to have two
Exactly.
or three gifts for those things.
Mm.
There's something our kid has to be in because of the holidays and they have to have a
Yep.
new costume for that or whatever it might be. Those things add up so quickly.
So quickly.
And we say, oh gosh, we weren't expecting them, but we know in the back of
Hmm.
our minds what usually
Exactly.
pops up. And there's usually a couple of
Hmm.
things. Or, we're hosting Christmas dinner this next year or whatever it might be. We can kind of project and kind of see what's going to
Really
be coming
can.
down the pipeline and start saving ahead of time and putting something aside. People used to do what was like Christmas Club, or you
I
put
was
like,
about to say,
yeah,
man, you're reading my
yeah,
mind.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
saying everything I want to say right now. But yes, the holiday, the club accounts at
Right.
the credit
Yeah.
unions
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
banks now have different accounts. You can rename
Right.
them, different savings. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Yeah. So just start putting something away. Start living on a little less now so that when
Hmm.
those times happen, you're ready. And, you're going to feel so much better, just like Shay paying things off before they're due. And just having that feeling of accomplishment, like you don't have to find yourself in the same position next year because you planned
Exactly.
ahead.
I love the idea with the food because I think a lot of people forget the small things, the food, the Christmas,
Yep.
the present wrapping, whatever, the little
Exactly.
things, that you're gonna need. And I
Right.
always, for years, after Christmas, I would go shopping
That's
for
what I
Christmas
do
stuff.
too.
I
Yeah.
love, like, we were just decorating the tree finally. Yes, it's late this year, but it's decorating the tree, and I was like, oh, we need some LED lights. Okay, so after Christmas, during the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas 70-90%
Yep.
sales, I will go get lights for the next year.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just think that's, I'll always love that. And I would go to like Kmart and Walmart or
Mm-hmm.
whoever just to get that, those cheaper items,
Right.
less expensive, those things that are on sale. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's 12 months out. So what? Then I have it for next year
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
spacing out your shopping, spreading out shopping so you're not spending a large amount of money all at once.
Mm-hmm.
After the holiday shopping, a lot of merchandise, as I just said, is deeply discounted.
Exactly.
So they can get rid of the
Yeah.
inventory. And I
Yeah.
also found some stores like in like September, October,
Mm-hmm.
their stuff is deeply discounted
Mm-hmm.
because they're gonna have stuff coming in around November and
Yeah.
December. So I found stuff
Exactly.
at like Hobby Lobby and all these other places around here like 50% off.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And if you have space, that's a wonderful thing to do. I know some people don't
Hmm.
have the space to put things away.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
that's something that I've done forever too is after
Mhm.
Christmas, I will go and buy the wrapping paper that I'm going to use the next
Yeah.
year. Just a few little things. And I always buy a couple of extra gifts that can sit in my closet. And
Mm.
sometimes they don't even look like holiday gift sets. So it might be
Mm.
something, that I could use for so and so's birthday in February.
Mhm. Oh
But
yeah, that's
planning
smart.
ahead, getting those items that are deeply discounted and kind of putting them away. I have this thing, I call it my prize closet, and I have gifts in there. And, not to say that I don't buy very specific gifts for certain people when it's
Mhm.
warranted, but sometimes you just want a cute little something to give somebody because, they've had a hard month or whatever that might be. So I have things that are set aside that have cost me very little, and it looks like I've really put some thought into it, which I did ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have those things kind of set aside because it doesn't come out of your budget then.
Exactly. That's so true. And then it's also say comparison shop always, right?
Always,
And
yeah.
sometimes I go a little too overboard in comparison shop. And sometimes I spend, especially when I'm shopping for myself or my house or
Mhm.
like family, like
Mhm.
I just like, sometimes I just go down this rabbit hole of trying to find the best value, the best reviews,
Yes.
so don't go crazy like Shay,
Right.
but definitely want a comparison shop because I'm telling you, I just saw this painting at this Value City furniture store here in Maryland. And I was like, I probably can find that somewhere cheaper. My husband's
Yeah.
like, just get it now. I'm like, nope, because I might find it cheaper and I might find something else I like. So
Mhm.
I don't like to buy the first thing, right? I like to do my comparison shopping, my reviewing of
Mhm.
everything. I don't know, so I get the best quality and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
I take my time. I don't rush, especially if it's big purchases.
Right.
Sometimes I take way too long though, but we did say join a holiday savings club
Mhm.
account. Credit unions have these. Try to use all cash if you're
Mhm.
worried about putting things on credit because you may not be able to pay it off over
Exactly.
an all cash holiday shopping goal is an option,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I love that. I
Yeah.
love to give cash, especially to my nieces and
Yeah.
nephews.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, because I'm giving cash, so then I know I'm not giving putting it on my credit card. So, and
Exactly.
I'm not talking about no gift cards, people.
Mhm.
I'm giving cash, money, dollar
Right.
bills.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
helps to keep you in budget because when that cash is gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about too is trying to use cash. I know that's harder these days because a lot of people don't take cash when you're buying things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, especially if you can give cash as gifts. I mean, a lot of people like to buy their own presents and get exactly what they want. So never a bad idea.
Never a bad idea. And this is one of my favorite ones because my husband always makes fun of me about this,
Uh-huh.
but using your credit card rewards. About
Yes.
70% of people fail to use them, which is crazy. I would
I
never
know.
do. I've always used
I
my credit card
know.
rewards. And my
Yeah.
husband used to make fun of me because every time we would go somewhere, oh, I'll pay for that on my credit card. He's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, oh, I'll pay for it on my credit card. And I always pay my credit card off
Yeah.
before the month,
Yeah.
or before interest was due. And he's like, and then he saw me getting all these gift cards in the mail and all this stuff. He's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're doing. He's like, you're stealing from me. I'm like, I'm not stealing for you. I'm paying for it and I'm getting my rewards. So I'm
Right.
getting my gift card,
Yeah.
rewards, whether it's
Yeah.
to Lowe's or IHOP or
Right.
the gas station. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm giving those gift cards to family members for credit card for their birthdays. So if you
Exactly.
can use
Yeah.
them, you can maybe buy somebody a plane ticket or
Mm-hmm.
buy someone a gift
Yeah.
using your credit card awards.
Yeah. And I will say with this, if you are, someone who can monitor and make sure that you're paying your card off monthly, do this. But if not, stay away from these things too, because, the debt's going to outweigh the reward with this if that's your
Exactly.
personality. But Shay, I do the exact same thing. I mean, we
Yeah.
were literally talking yesterday. So, my boyfriend and I are doing this thing this year. Instead of doing, presents, we've been trying to do something fun every weekend in December. So we were
Nice.
talking yesterday about going to the movies on Christmas Day. And I was like, ooh, I've already gotten us a gift card, using my points for AMC so we can go to the
I love
movies.
that.
But yeah, it's a great way to do things. And it feels like it's free because you're going to spend the money that you use your card on something anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice little pick me up and these little extras that kind of pop up with that. And you can do some great little fun things.
You really can.
Hmm.
That's great. So, yeah, so a lot of great ways to, unfortunately, a lot of us are accumulating debt during the holidays, but there's
Hmm.
ways to fix that and get out of debt. And there's ways to make sure you don't get in debt again
Exactly.
for the next holiday. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say remember that it's not about the amount of money you're spending on something.
Mm,
It's about the effort and the time and the thought. And a lot of people these days are moving away from actual physical gifts and more to
Mm,
experiences. So
yep.
just know who you're buying for and make sure that it's something that aligns with what's important to them.
Yeah, that's so good. And we're going to have another episode on experience buying because then people are still spending too much money.
True. Very true.
So we need to have that conversation too. But I love the idea of experience over materialistic. We got too many items in our
We
houses and
do.
our workplaces. So we do need to cut back on that and experience stuff. But yeah, so I was just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I have to shout out Adriana and Juan, who have been with us since the beginning, our producer and our who helps with editing and so much more. And just shout out our new podcast manager, TJ, who's going to be helping us starting January officially, but started already.
Yeah.
So we're just really excited about our team and how we're growing and the direction we're going. So don't forget to follow us wherever podcasts are found. And remember, it's always better Yahweh's way. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the crossroads of religion and money. Also, we would love to hear your feedback on today's episode, so please leave us a review or just tell us what's on your mind. And remember to follow our podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions of topics for us to discuss, please email us at yahweh@crusaders4change.org. To hear all of Yahweh's Money latest episodes, please visit us at www.crusaders4change.org or wherever podcasts are found. God bless.